Hey viewers and friends, Andrew back again, and welcome to another video. This video is going to be the first in an ongoing series that I like to call Andrew's Top 10 List. So what I've decided to do, of course in this video, is start with my top 10 movies from the 80s, but I'm also going to do more in the series, so top 10 lists from the 90s, sci-fi, horror, slashes, drama and action, stuff like that. And I'd really love other people to get involved. I think we could have some fun with this, and it's always interesting to see other people's opinions and their lists as well. So please get your video responses happening. So as I said, decided to start with my top 10 lists from the 80s today, because not only do I think it's the best era for movies period, as we all know there's been some awesome movies released during the 80s, some absolute classics, but I was born in 1982. So I spent the majority of my childhood growing up then, and I also started getting into movie watching then, so pretty significant time period for me. So what I've done is I've pulled out 10 movies that I classify as 10 of my favourites from the 80s. I know I'm probably forgetting some, but these are what I can think of right now. We all know that lists change from time to time, but as of right now, these are my top 10 favourites from the 80s, so I'm going to start at number 10 and work my way down to number 1. So, sitting at number 10 goes to the 1986 release of Lucas. This is a pretty underrated 80s movie. I really never hear many people mention it. It did sort of come out during the time where a lot of other more popular and now classic movies came out, so I guess kind of understandable that it's been swept under the carpet a bit. This is a great coming-of-age high school tale about a high school student called Lucas who is trying to impress a new girl that's arrived in town, so he tries out for the football team. Of course, he's no good. He gets bullied and ridiculed by his teammates, but by the end of the movie, he's grown up a bit, he gets better, and he earns the respect of everyone in school. Got a great 80s feel to it, and just a real good, upbeat and feel-good ending. Okay, sitting at number 9 goes to Peter Jackson's Bad Taste. Fun fact, this is Peter Jackson's very first feature movie and my favourite Peter Jackson movie of all time. If you haven't seen it, it's about a government agency that sent out 4 ragtag guys to stop an alien invasion. These are what the aliens look like, pretty cool. So these aliens have invaded and they're planning to kill off humans and turn them into intergalactic hamburger meat for their restaurant chain, and it's up to these 4 guys to stop them any way they can. This is fantastic 80s cheese and gore all round. Next, and sitting at number 8, goes to War Games. This is another great 80s film that I love, seen it many times. Stars Matthew Broderick and Ali Shetty. They're 2 high school students. Matthew Broderick, who plays David Lightman in the movie, he's a computer hacker, so he hacks into a government computer and starts playing a war game. They just think it's an innocent, fun little game, but unbeknownst to them, it's actually starting a nuclear war somewhere, and the government agency are trying to track them down. Again, got a great 80s vibe and a pretty cool soundtrack. Sitting at number 7 goes to The Never-Ending Story. Not only is it a brilliant 80s fantasy film, but it's my favourite fantasy movie of all time. I love the fantasy creatures throughout, especially the luck dragon, and I love the fact that it's not only set in a fantasy world, but it's also told through the eyes of Bastian as he reads the book. Okay, sitting at number 6 goes to The Road Warrior, or Mad Max 2. The majority of people have seen it. This is a fantastic 80s post-apocalyptic action movie, I guess you'd say, set in the Australian outback, starring Mel Gibson. I love it. I think it's brilliant. For those who aren't familiar about the storyline, it's about a lone warrior who's out for revenge against his family's death, and he sort of gets involved between this gang of people who own or run an oil refinery and like a I don't know, a desert gang, I guess you could say, leather-clad gang that are trying to capture this oil refinery. Really, really good. Some great action sequences as well. Sitting at number 5 goes to The Last Starfighter. This is one of the many awesome sci-fi films to come out in the 80s. One of my favourites, about a teenager who lives in a trailer park or a caravan park, and all he does all day is maintenance work, and he really wants to get out. So one night he actually beats the high score on a video game called The Last Starfighter, and that night this alien called Centauri comes down from outer space and recruits him into the Starfighter League, where he has to basically play out the game for real. Really, really good effects that still hold up really well to this day. Sitting at number 4 goes to another sci-fi that I grew up on, that's Explorers with Ethan Hawke and River Phoenix. It's about 3 young kids, they're all friends, and they decide to build a spaceship out of carnival parts. Pretty much all of them are obsessed with like outer space and sci-fi, especially the main character who's played by Ethan Hawke. I keep forgetting his name. But yeah, they eventually build the spaceship. It runs on batteries, and they take a trip to outer space and come across a spaceship with some intergalactic aliens. Just a real fun, upbeat family adventure movie. Sitting at number 3 is my favourite coming of age movie, and that is Stand By Me. Despite this coming out in the 80s, it's actually set in the 50s time period. They captured the 50s really, really well. Fantastic soundtrack, and I'm sure the majority of people know what this is about, but if you don't, it's about 4 young male friends, pre-teens I guess they are, and they go in search of a dead body over a long weekend, and of course they learn about growing up, the strength of friendship, where they want to go in life. Just fantastic story. These next 2 films are probably going to be no surprise to some of my viewers, and sitting at number 2 goes to the sci-fi epic E.T. I really don't need to talk about this, I've gone on about it enough in previous videos, but I will say this is my favourite sci-fi film, my favourite Steven Spielberg film, his masterpiece in my opinion. Just a great family adventure. And sitting at number 1 goes to the Goonies. I love this movie. It's probably my most watched movie of all time. I grew up on it. I used to hire it out or rent it out on VHS from the video shop all the time as a kid. Loved it. Just a great movie about friendship, trying to save what's dear to them, like they're trying to save their parents' homes. So they go in search of One-Eyed Willie's pirate ship and treasure, and they come across some bad guys, and yeah, just a great adventure. So that's it for my top 10 list from the 80s. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and as always, rate and comment, or even better still, get your video responses happening please, and thanks a lot for watching.